Hey everybody, welcome back to Hayfrosells. My name is Jeff. I am primarily a full-time reseller on eBay, although I question it every day. And I also have recently, over the last few months, really been aggressively trying to sell things locally just because eBay is not working. And I want to say thanks to all of you guys, all of the viewers that have commented. This is why I'm doing today's video, is I'm doing essentially a reaction video, or, I'm commenting on your comments, adding thoughts. I want to keep this dialogue going. Overwhelmed by the amount of support that you guys have been giving me in the form of views and, thumbs up and comments. You guys are amazing. And I just want to say thanks for that. So before we get into some comments, and there's about a dozen I kind of want to highlight or so, I'll give you an update, talk a little bit about what I sold today very quickly. I sold one item on eBay. I sold one very, very late, right before I went to bed, a comic for like $36. And then, but since I woke up, I have one sale. And it's a really weird sale. It's like a little mirror, like a vintage mirror, like that a woman would kind of keep in her purse. I don't even know how anybody found it, because they were very generic title description. There was no identification on it. I'm sure this is the typical kind of item that is not actually viewable. So I don't know how people find things that like when I do make sales. And then I sold two things locally. I actually upsold a local customer. How funny was that? So I had a guy who was buying a Heineken soccer ball that I literally got for free at a garage sale. Like this one garage sale that Maria and I went to over the summer. Like, we got there really early, and he had like a box of like just stuff that he did not want. He was happy for us to take it all. And I actually had two. I sold one previously for 10. This one sold for 15. And then I had a Heineken hat, literally just sitting there. It was brand new. And I'm like, I wonder if he'll be interested in that. He ended up taking that off my hands for 15. So that was 30. And then the other sale was, and I did not have that listed on eBay. The other sale are these cool old pictures of like Vancouver in the 70s. Like they're just really super unique. And I actually took 6 of them out. I'm going to show you those real quick. So somebody from Canada found these, and they messaged me and they're like, "Hey, would you ship to me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll ship to you." So they ended up paying $45 including shipping for these pictures. And I bought these off of a lady. I answered an ad, and she had some buttons and some pins for sale and a couple magazines. And so, we agreed on a price. Like, I literally got everything for like, I want to say 10 or 11 bucks. And so these are the ones that I just thought, like the color, this looks like, it's a cinema, capital 8. I just love that color. Caligula at a theater. And I'm just going to show you this one as well. I don't know. These look like, to me, they could be on the cover of like an album. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I might put them in some sort of like frame. I'll show you the other two. I guess there was only 5. It's just really cool to see old pictures of Vancouver before the urbanization of it, before the gentrification of it. I think when you sell old things, you're kind of a fan of history as well. And then I was also thinking, so 2 sales, $60 plus 10 shipping, and 1 sale on eBay, 8,500 items. What can we do? What can we do? Until enough people get upset, and until they voice their concerns with eBay, I don't know what's going to change, but I know where I'm spending my time right now. And I was thinking, as I was kind of like preparing to make this video, I'm like, man, it would be nice to kind of show some what solds. And, you know, I had a few things sell yesterday, but I'm like, you know, it's almost insulting doing what sold videos right now when so many people are not having any sales. Like, I was speaking to a friend of mine in Australia. She has $30 in 36 hours is her last total of sales. And, you know, she was telling me weeks ago that, like, she was killing it. She was having these massive days. And to just go from like $300, $400, $500 days to $30 in 36 hours, it really does speak that there is something fundamentally wrong with search. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to jump into a couple comments and kind of see where it takes me, and we'll go from there. So the first one is from Glitter and Sud Samir, and he says, he or she, I'm not sure. I think if Walmart got a hold of eBay's marketplace, they could take down Amazon. You could drop off items you're selling at a local store to ship. Now, interesting comment. I don't think that would ever happen, but you know, when you think about like local stores or selling to your local communities, I think there's something there. Because I often think, and I've said this before, that if all 8,500 of my items were local, I really do think that I would have amazing sales. Because and it would be green, right? It would be like it's almost like local gets first dibs at it, because or local has an advantage to buying off of sellers who are local, because they wouldn't have to pay the shipping and handling. And it's just, so it's almost like my vision of kind of like what I think could be built is, you know, having your own store, having your items on your own page that are accessible to the local community, and also to online. Which also, this actually makes me think about how eBay, and I don't know if I said this in the last video, because sometimes I think of things and then I don't say them, but it's kind of ironic that eBay has opened up their store to the world with their whole international shipping program, and everybody's sales are down. Or let's just not say everybody. The majority of people's stores' sales are low. One other thought on the idea of selling local and the sustainability of it is, think about in 10 years. 10 years from now, think about how many shipping and handling increases will have gone through. Think about who benefits from that. I mean, the post office doesn't benefit from it because their shipping and handling goes up as well. We don't benefit from it, but eBay benefits directly from rising shipping and handling costs, because they make 15%, 12 to 15% on the final value fee, and then they make their cut on the promoted listings, which, imagine what the minimum promoted listings will be then. And it's not sustainable. It's literally not sustainable. Like, I don't know how eBay thinks sellers can withstand all of these fees going forward. And you might think 10 years, oh, that's not that far. I mean, that's a far ways away. But when you're planning on building something, you have to factor in things like that, especially known costs. It's not like, oh, well, maybe the shipping and handling will go up. No, it's going up. And that is one thing that we have to absorb. But then also factoring in paying possibly, you know, another 20 to 30%, whether you're promoting at 5 or 15% on, you know, just giving that to eBay, that doesn't make any sense. And I would just wish eBay, like, I get that they have to have fees. I get that. I'm not saying, I'm not anti-fee. I understand that all businesses, they incur costs. But it has to make sense for both parties. It can't just be this person, one party is just massively benefiting while the other one is just, you know, suffering. You know, that money comes out of somewhere. Okay, so July, JulyNCH1, July. Okay, As similar to many sellers on eBay, my sales have also tanked. I listed a car emblem, not something I normally list, and within a short period of time it sold. Car parts and luxury items seem to be what eBay is going for. What a strange combination. Thanks for the video. I just thought that was relevant, given that the person who emailed me the other day was talking about that. And then there's another one down the road mentioning that there's another comment. KV Art says, I keep having to relist items that I listed a long time ago because as I go through stuff, I am realizing that listing just literally disappeared. In the past 4 months, I've probably had to relist about 50 to 75 items that just magically weren't listed anymore. Very frustrating because of the extra work I have to put in. A lot of these items did sell pretty soon after relisting them. They can't sell if they aren't listed on eBay. I do think sometimes my listings do disappear, but I've never really been able to say for sure I know that I've listed it, because I could have potentially delisted it and not relisted it. But I do know. So let me know if any of you guys have things like this have happened to you, and you know for a fact. I mean, there's it's weird. On eBay, it's almost like, because there's times where I know I've sold something and then somehow it gets relisted. And that is just as damaging because we get so severely penalized for that. Eyes Wide Open, great movie, by the way. I end up watching that every few years. Says, and we pay for our items to sit in eBay's draft bank. Then we pay again when eBay decides to show them to a buyer. I guess if a buyer doesn't choose our item, it goes back to the draft bank. I know that if my item sits for a while and I go back to sell similar, I have item specifics such as ISBN, UPC missing and have to add them again. eBay is headed for some major problems. Yeah, I don't know how the promoted listings, how do they affect the items that are in the supposed, let's just say, draft bank? I guess that's the best way to say it. The items that aren't listed, they're not deemed worthy by Cassini to be seen in the search features. If we're promoting our items, how does that affect? Like, are they being seen because we promote them? Or if we don't promote them, are they just forever hidden? Because, and then the only way that I can imagine that somebody could potentially stumble across an item in your store that is kind of like deemed a not active listing is if they go right into your store. For instance, like I have 2 eBay stores and I sell something on one and then I recommend him or her to go over and, if they want to add something, if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for my own active, things that I do to create sales, my sales would be even far worse than they are now. KV Art, another great comment. This is making so much sense now. I have a listing of a vintage Marvel Legends figure. I have 3 of them, same in package, so it's a multi-listing. Several times I have tried to find it myself, and 3 pages of listings for this item, and mine is absolutely not there at all, though it's on my active listings page. I think I'm going to end the listing for now and try to make a brand new listing again and see if it shows up. Again, going back to the idea now that we have to double and triple deal with each item's listings things to get sales, I could be using that time to make more listings. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. So you have a vintage Marvel's Legends and you have 3 of them in the same package. So are they 3 different items? So are you going to make 3 different listings? Or is it one listing that's the same and there's 3 of them? Let me know, because there's something to be said here about, and I touched upon it yesterday, about like condition. And if you list something and it's a specific condition, and Cassini recommends that you price it at this, but you know that all of the, let's just say, mid-grade copies of whatever you're selling are that price, and your copy of whatever you're selling is like flawless, like it's just like the day it came out. And then you price it higher because you know it's worth more, but then your listing's not being seen. Additionally, in this case, let me just take this example. Let's say you had 3 action figures, and they were like, so let's say GI Joes, and you kind of wanted to just pair them up and kind of toss them out. So you list them like, you know, Duke, Snake Eyes, Cobra Commander. And the system thinks because Duke is first, it only factors in that that's the price that you should be listing for that particular item. But you literally have 3 items. So it's going to be 3 times as much. It might even be more than 3 times as much. So is that item never going to be seen? Because I try to, you know, create listings that are unique and to try to set my listings apart. But now I'm thinking, am I being penalized for that? You know, I might have like a collection of postcards, or, you know, a collection of buttons, or a collection of, you know, maybe a bag and a hat that are the same themed, or like a purse. And so it's like there's no possible way that the algorithm is calculating in the fact of what your entire purchase is worth. It's in its mind, it is saying this is what it's worth. And if you go over that, then your listing's not going to be seen because we think it's not going to sell. And that's why just let people search for items. Just let people search for what they're looking for. Let them decide what they want. I showed you guys this hat the other day. I couldn't believe this. You know, I listed it, and then somebody liked it within 4 minutes of listing it. Later on that night, this person contacted me. I listed it for $20. You know, it's in really, really high grade. It's very white. You know, it's going to need steamed. I haven't got to the point where I'm cleaning and steaming hats. And if I can't sell them on eBay and get, you know, visibility, then I'm probably not even going to bother doing that. Anyhow, so this person last night messaged me, and he's like, I want this. He's like, I'll come pick it up on Wednesday. And he goes, I collect spam things. And then he sent me this picture of like all the things that he has that are spam. So I totally know that he's going to buy this. But it just blew my mind because I didn't list this on eBay because I was concerned about Veros because of spam, because I could totally see spam being one of those words like Velcro. And so I didn't list it on there, and I also just didn't list it because I'm just like, it's not going to sell on there. It took less than a day to sell this locally. I just could not believe it. It just totally shows you that search is messed up in eBay. Gretchen Bay says, I'm curious how the whole Google thing works as far as eBay not showing listings on their site, but then Google shows them on theirs. I wonder why eBay is willing to pay out to Google to do that, remembering how they canceled PayPal and had payments processed in-house to collect the fees rather than pay out to PayPal. I would be curious to see how much of our promoted listings is being given to Google, since eBay is having a decline in customers but showing profit for their shareholders because sellers want to pay more fees. Wait, is that what they said? They said we want to pay more fees? Because I never said I wanted to pay more fees. The reason she has it in quotes, sellers want to pay more fees. I think a lot of sellers would have something to say about that. I don't have any comment on this because I don't know. But maybe it's possible that someone else might have something to add to that. I just thought it was an interesting comment. Glitter and Sud Samir said, I'm actually thinking of just listing fresh on a few platforms. I have a few multi-quantity items I can use to see who wins that race. There's a lot of chaos right now listening to YouTubers, some of which told folks to relist items during a period when that wasn't working. A few eBay YouTubers have mentioned that they have watchers on their videos who are asking questions because they are buying eBay stock. They are probably shorting it. So watch out for disinformation and more bad information because they want the stock price to go down before you buy it and then pump the stock to dump it. If shorters are in the mix, it's not a good sign for their future short term. To me, I'm just done with the chaos of eBay. Too much work versus the return right now. If this is how eBay treats us when they've had a few great years, the lean years will be worse. This is an excellent comment because I've never even considered. Like, I remember back in the day of Yahoo message boards, the Motley Fool message boards, and how, you know, people would get on there and they would try and pump and dump stocks. Excellent take here. I never even considered how people could just have like a super negative. I mean, I've joked that eBay and Etsy are probably excellent short candidates right now. And I did actually look at their stock, and I did used to trade stocks. So one of these days I'm actually gonna do a little bit of an analysis on the stock price. I think it's at a very tedious is not the right word, peculiar area of support, and if it breaks through that support, it could be in for a long fall. Maybe I'll try to do that in the next day or two. But excellent take that we do have to take everybody's opinions, hot takes, whatever they're saying on their channels. We do have to take everything with a grain of salt. And I think for me, I try to listen and take a bunch of opinions or information from various sources, take it in, and then let my computer brain decide the outcome of kind of like and my own analysis. And then, you know, and I try to share that with you guys, but then you need to take what I say and you need to analyze it for your own take. I have no open stock positions right now, and I don't plan on having any for a while. I'm taking a break from trading. Okay, I've read that one. All right. My name is Benneth. Now, I recognize this username. I'm going to read the comment. A physical store owner wouldn't complain that they have to sweep the floors in order to make sales. They also have to dust the shelves and cut prices on expiring or old inventory. I'm going to say this. I know that this person has commented in the past before. I remember his avatar, I guess you want to call it, because it kind of creeps me out. It's like a distorted face. Kind of reminds me of, for some reason, it reminds me of like the Truman Show, which I love that movie, by the way. But he's very pro eBay. At least his past comments have been that. Now, I want to say, Benneth, let us know if you have to be a reseller. There could be no possible way that why would you be watching these videos? Why would you care? Why would you be pro eBay if you aren't a reseller? So I welcome you to share your eBay store with us so we can see what you're doing that you're obviously having so much success with. Because that's the only reason that I can imagine anybody would be pro eBay right now, is if they were just killing it. So please, if you want to help the community, because these comments, they're not helpful. In fact, if anything, like, I'm not going to read the comments that came out after that. You can imagine how they're triggering. They're triggering comments right now. So if you continue to just do these kinds of comments without kind of like providing more information as to why you're saying these things, it's not useful to the community. I just kind of want to put that out there. And it's actually harmful because it's triggering to people who are suffering right now. So I just want you to try to be aware of the words that you're saying. So we will know in the future if you continue to post these kinds of pro eBay comments without any kind of supporting information, without sharing your store, then we'll know. Now, if you want to share your eBay store so we can kind of see what you're doing, that could be helpful. So please, be helpful in this community. Yazzie 101, eBay doesn't take into consideration new or used items suggested price. I sell mostly new, so their suggested prices are half my price. It really, paraphrasing, upsets me. Sorry, why can't they suggest two prices, new and old? With all these hurdles we need to jump through, we have promoted on top of that hide or show our listings, it's a miracle anything gets seen. I completely agree. It's eBay's suggested price is more harmful than anything. There's no possible way that it can calculate. It has to be apples to apples. If it's apples to oranges and that suggested price is lower than what you're listing at, your item's not going to get seen if this new information is correct, unless you have a way to drive traffic to your own store. And eBay, I hope you're listening, because you can't compare apples to oranges and expect it to be fair. eBay didn't wake up starting doing this. It has been happening years ago. No matter how you put all your items listings in, they disappear. eBay removed your item listings to bump you off the active grid. What is the point of paying for a subscription store? The buyer found your item by literally going, so this is what they literally found your item, and this was LROF4ZN. This may circumvent eBay's protocol to decide who will be successful on eBay and who will not. 100%. And but then we have to drive all the traffic to our store. And why would we spend the efforts of driving all the traffic to our store and then give eBay a cut of that? It would make more sense for people to have their own stores. So I'm pretty certain I recorded it and I have it. Maria and I were talking last night, and she was going off on a little bit of a rant. She didn't know that I was recording her. The screen is black because she doesn't actually like to be on screen. So I'm gonna stop this right here, and then I'm gonna include that 2 or 3 minute clip inside there.
Let me start again. If in fact eBay has some kind of system that they have set into place to change their identity in the marketplace, right? It would make sense that they are hiding your listings in order to discourage sellers from continuing the behavior that they have been doing, which gives eBay the identity that they don't want anymore. Like, they don't want to be a garage sales, little tiny things that are obscure. Like, if that's the case, then communicate it to the sellers who have done that and have built their income and their businesses on that idea and premise, which is what eBay started off as, right? eBay was a marketplace to say, come here, sell your used or gently used items to someone else who might want it. Like, sell reclaimed goods. That's been the place. Like, eBay has been that place. Designer goods, everything. So if you're going to change it, then communicate to the sellers what it is that you're changing, what direction you're going, and then allow them to pivot, but also what's already there should have like an opportunity to be moved. So you could say to the sellers, hey, we don't want any more of this stuff, but since it's already here, let's allow you to move that out, because that's money for eBay, that's money for the sellers, but that also gives sellers an opportunity to transition, to say, okay, I like it, and it might be more profitable for me if I do whatever this change is, or I don't like it, but thank you for communicating it to me and then allowing me to move what's already there that you encouraged me to do.
It's kind of a respect thing.
You encourage sellers to post all of their stuff on there and have eBay be the one platform that is going to provide all that you need in order to move your valued goods. And then suddenly it's not anymore. So it would be nice to have a forum, like an audience with eBay with and for sellers, whomever it is, whichever executive is actually in the know as to what eBay's current strategy is, to say, here's they may not recognize sellers as their biggest customer, which they should, but here's somebody who has been with us, who has helped to build eBay and make eBay what it is today. And maybe we should give them the respect of a little bit of information. But it is like, it's so frustrating that eBay is this like household name, but they don't seem to remember how they got there. And that is like a fundamental mistake that folks make when they don't remember how they got places and they suddenly want to be this something. It's like actors who like study to be like Shakespearean Broadway actors, but then suddenly they want to be a pop star. It's like, that's not like where your talent lies, and that's not how you built up your name to be this thing. But suddenly you want to be something different, you know? And
all right, guys, a couple more. Isn't that the most adorable hedgehog mug? A couple more, and then I'm gonna get out of here, go grocery shopping, and make a quick thrift store run. And you know, I shouldn't be sourcing, but you never know what you're gonna find. And right now, that is like, well, sourcing is always the best part of the job, right? So yeah. Nice segue. Spencer Petrie says, people don't have money right now. Times are tough. Remember that when pricing all these long tail items like your buttons and bottle openers, remember that people can't buy food and pay rent. I would 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. And people still are buying things. Now, let me just, you know, when times are tough, times are tough. And people still need to reward themselves. They still need to, you know, feel human. And, you know, retail therapy is a thing. You know, that phrase, there's a reason it's called retail therapy. You spend money to feel better. So when times are tough and you feel bad and you want to buy, you know, a $4 or a $5 item, that can make you feel better. So I would say that when times are tough, that is even more incentive for eBay to recognize and to support sellers who have lower dollar items, because it's through the massive amounts of low dollar items being sold that money is still being made, right? Unless I'm missing something. Stevens Bargains Barn says, I was taking a look at one of my listings. I have a windshield decal listed. eBay put a video in my listing. They put a video in my other listing. Update. Yes, they do put a guaranteed video in all my automotive listings. He's basically just saying that it does seem like they are moving towards a eBay Auto, eBay Motors as being, you know, the dominant area where they're focusing. And the gentleman that I read his email, he messaged me again today, and he was like, I can't make this up. He's like, I think he said he logged into eBay and he took screenshots of 4 different auto eBay Motors ads. Okay, guys, there's one more comment that I want to discuss, and then we're going to wrap this video up, and then there's going to be some bonus footage at the end. Maria's going to come on, and she's going to talk to you guys a little bit. So, Glitter and Sudsamar had another good question / comment. Does eBay make or lose money when we cross-post? I can't find anything online discussing this. Now, it's an interesting question because yes, they do, but because that item that you would have sold on eBay is going to a competitor. But unless it's a completely one-off, one-of-a-kind, the only kind of item that you're going to find, then, and there's not another one of those items on eBay, then yes, in theory they do. But eBay, as we know, has a draft bank that they can pull from. So they can always make it up in other ways. And they benefit from those who primarily list on Posh and Mercari or other sites, Etsy, who also cross-list on eBay. So they benefit as well from cross-posting, cross-listing as a whole. And one of the benefits to you to cross-listing is it's pretty well-known fact that we are capped. So if you're making money, if you're selling an item that you have on eBay, this is why I sell locally, is like, for example, I accepted an offer on this Hello Kitty thing, that a luggage bag that I had listed on eBay today locally. And it's not like I'm hitting any of my selling limits right now, but if I was selling what I was normally used to be selling, if you're selling something off of eBay, it's taking that sale that would be added to your daily cap availability to what you can make, and it's freeing that up to sell other things. I hope that makes sense. So the money that you're making on your other sale isn't added to your daily sales limit that eBay kind of seems to allow us to have. So there's definitely a lot of pros to that. Like, there has been discussions as to whether or not, because there's some gray areas in the eBay terms of agreement regarding cross-listing. I believe we've talked about this in the past. They kind of skirt around that, and they kind of just say, it's allowed without expressly saying yes, it's allowed. It's like there's like a precedent, but they could always take that away at any time. They could always take it away. They could always add fees, basically kind of like charge you to cross list. So I've often thought that if I do sell on another platform, maybe I will just not cross list. Maybe I will just list certain items on another platform. I mean, and then basically include, I don't know, I haven't decided yet. Like I'm not there yet. But like if I was saying for Mercari, and I just wanted to have like sell buttons and patches and like maybe really, really small things over there, and maybe I'll just, focus on that. But when I sell that, I could let that customer know, like, well, these are the other platforms that I sell on, and encourage deals. If you see something in the future on Mercari and on eBay, maybe we can do an outside deal out, and deal directly. That could be one way to go. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up, and I want to thank you again for all your comments. And yeah, let's hope for some good sales. Peace and blessings to you guys, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Hi guys, it's Em. I want to say hello to you and thank you all for welcoming Jeff into your community, into the YouTube community, as well as the reseller community. He has really appreciated all of the engagement and the discussions that y'all are having, and I think it's really important, especially during this time. I also wanted to thank you for your kindness toward me, and particularly in showing appreciation for my art, which has a bit of a funny story to it. Nothing I ever expected to sell. In fact, I have not sold any of it, but of course, as an RP, a reseller's partner, everything can be put to sale, as you know, and so that was Jeff's intent, and that is what he's trying to do. So when COVID first started and we went into lockdown, I remember going to my eldest daughter's house, and we stood outside with her partner, and we couldn't even exchange food because we were so afraid to infect each other. But she gave me these paints. They're Kuretake paints, and she said, "Mom, paint." She is also a community artist, so she gets paid to do that. But I didn't know what to paint, so I remember painting a rainbow and doodling in my journal and doing some lettering. And I liked the paint that was left in the bottom of the little heart bowl that I used. And I think this image coming up is the very first one. And I became really intrigued with the patterns of the paint, and I really started to enjoy it. So I started to play around with what was happening. I also loved the impermanence of painting in glass bowls that you can't keep. See how tiny they are. I started to paint things for my daughters, one of whom is really far away and felt so much further away at that time. She was in Australia and the borders had locked down and we just didn't know when we would see each other again. So painting really became cathartic, and it became something that I did for myself as well as for my daughters. And I had no intention of ever showing anybody except my family and my friends on Instagram these things. Eventually I started to paint photos, and I remember how sad this photo made me feel because my daughter took it in Australia. And Jeff just always kept showing appreciation for the things that I painted, and so did my family. This was the San Francisco fires. This one is my favorite. It reminds me of the Philippines, lightning storms and boats on the water. And then our dog became ill, Rigby. He lived to be 15 years old and 3 months, and he really didn't sleep much. Nobody slept at that time, so I was always up, or Jeff was always up. Jeff would work when he was awake. We'd take turns sleeping like 3 hours at a time, and I just painted and listened to Rigby. This is my daughter's friend in the Philippines, which is the place she feels most powerful. This is Howling Bay, where my daughter and her boyfriend and now husband visited. And then Rigby passed away, and I painted him at this rainbow bridge. And I just kept on painting because I realized that it didn't matter how this stuff looked. It was just that I loved it so much. And Jeff just is so intent on selling something. And as you know, we're expecting our first grandchild, so I started painting things for the baby to welcome them into this world. And I even painted on the backs of things. But yeah, thank you so much for showing appreciation for these things. It means so much to me, and I know it means a lot to Jeff as well. So anyways, when Jeff first suggested that we sell something, I was like, okay, go ahead and list it, but no one's going to buy it. And sure enough, no one has bought anything, which is absolutely fine, because I don't paint to sell stuff. I paint because I enjoy it. And for many resellers, y'all sell stuff because you enjoy it. You have this entrepreneurial spirit, and you are resilient in times of strife and in times when the economy doesn't seem to support you. So keep doing what you love, because anytime Jeff feels like, I don't know how we're going to do this, I just tell him, do what you love. How Jeff started as a reseller was that he loves comics. Like, he loves comics, and he loves to collect comics, and he did it as a kid, and he loves looking at them and studying them and assessing them and analyzing them. And so he started selling comics, and I still remember like the very first time Jeff sold a comic for like $345. We freaked out. We were like so surprised and so thrilled. So that was the start, and it just grew from there, like curating things and speculating on things that people might love or enjoy in their homes. And I also remember that there was a friend of Jeff's who approached him and was like, look, dude, you gotta help me out. Like, once he knew that Jeff was making some income from selling comics, he was like, you gotta tell me what comics to sell and where to get them, etc. And Jeff was happy to talk about comics, but honestly, I remember thinking, I don't know how this person could be successful selling comics because he doesn't love them and he doesn't know them. So I said to Jeff, tell him to find what he loves and what he's interested and start there. And so when there are comments from people who say, sell high volume items, sell designer things, and sell iPhones, it's like, it's funny to me because Jeff doesn't love designer things, or he doesn't even, sorry, he doesn't like the iPhone. And he, he's really successful when he does what he loves. So for those of you who are doing what you love and curating what you love, I encourage you to keep doing it. And I'm going to keep painting. And I'm sure Jeff, who can now sell anything, actually, he is a natural born seller. Remember his nickname. It's Mary Kay Ash from my previous video. Sorry, it's MK, right? MK, we're going to call him MK. So MK can actually sell anything now because, well, anything that he appreciates and loves. And I'm going to keep doing what I appreciate and love, which is painting weird stuff. So talk to you guys soon.